You have often said that you use Brave as your primary browser. This is true. Wow, someone actually said something that I said that is true. A lot of people are like, you said this, and it's like, well, kind of, but not really. But yes, Brave's primary browser, and one of the reasons is that it has good privacy settings out of the box. However, as a more technical user, I'm sure you could also easily harden Firefox. And as you've previously stated, the field of Firefox hardening is relatively straightforward these days compared to the past, and you had to install multiple different extensions. I'd say countless different extensions. Therefore, I'm curious about what made you ultimately choose Brave when it's also generally known that you can make Firefox more private than Brave, and you would also be fighting against the Chromium monopoly. So it's a good question. I think there's a few things here. One, you have to remember every browser has a strength and a weakness. I don't only use Brave. Actually, recently I've been using the Mullvad browser a lot. I'm a huge fan of Mullvad browser because it's essentially a hardened Firefox that I have to put 0 time into maintaining. So it's really solid. I really like Mullvad browser. I do use it for certain things. I also still use the Tor browser for certain things. The main reason why I use Brave is because I don't have to think about it, I don't have to configure it, and it actually for me is the best middle ground of something that's very compatible with what I do. You're gonna see a lot of creators online say that just even uploading a video between Firefox and a Chromium-based browser has different speeds. There's a lot of features missing in some of the software that I use that doesn't quite work as well on Firefox-based browsers in comparison to Chromium-based browsers. And so that's generally what I use it for, is I use it for most of my work, which is what I use my browser for, generally speaking. On top of that, I just personally prefer the interface, and I really like the profile setup on Chromium. I know that Firefox has kind of that legacy profile support. It's kind of meh. And also I like the profile implementation better than Firefox containers. So again, it's all just personal preference. I actually use all these browsers pretty much in some capacity, but I do think Brave is generally my go-to browser. The other main selling point to Brave is that it still supports adding progressive web apps to your operating system, which Firefox dropped that support a couple years ago. For some bizarre reason, even though the web keeps going in the more web-based direction, Firefox has dropped the ability to add a progressive web app to your operating system, which is actually a very big use case for me, given I pretty much exclusively use web apps when I can. I really don't like installing things. For those who don't know, web apps are just things you can use in your browser. So even dating, things like Bumble, Tinder, they all have web applications. Duolingo, you can use these in your web browser and not have to install any of the apps or the programs on your devices. Same thing with Discord. Our forum, actually, you can't see it here, but our forum is also a web app. You can install it as a web app. So those are the various reasons I like to use Brave. On top of that, Chromium does have a stronger security. Chromium generally is better, stronger security than Firefox, so for my go-to accounts, I do actually value that quite a bit. But again, still use other browsers too, as should most people. I can't think of many scenarios where most people should just lock themselves into only using one browser.